Before starting the service, make sure you have all the tools needed to perform the service. Look at the service manual for more information on which tools will be needed for the service. Stop the machine, switch off and lock the power supply to avoid an accidental start. Before starting any dismantling work, make sure that all rotating parts have come to a complete standstill. This can take up to 30 minutes. Before beginning the dismantling process of the separator, remove the flexible hoses from the connecting housing. But be aware, the flexible hoses can contain hot oil and there may be a risk of a burn. Remove the lock nut. Use a soft hammer on the inlet pipe to loosen the connection and remove the connecting housing. Remove the spring from the pin on the hood. Remove the arm together with the spring. Make sure to move the pairing tube to the inner position and keep it in this position during the dismantling to avoid it from being damaged. Remove the screws securing the hood. Use a screwdriver in the groove to loosen the hood. Lift off the hood and place it somewhere stable. Be sure to protect the pin from damage. We need to use the compression tool to open the bowl. Fit the tool onto the threads on the bowl. Fit the clamps onto the bowl. Be sure not to cover the threaded holes. The screws will fit in the sludge holes. Lubricate and enter the tightening screws in the compression tool and tighten by hand. Check the manual and additional service bulletins for the correct torque value. Compress the disc stack by alternately tightening the screws on the compressing tool in accordance with the torques mentioned in the service manual or in the service bulletin number 32285. Lubricate the dismantling screws and fit them onto the bowl body. Make sure to start tightening the screws from the right side of the split in the lock ring. Otherwise, the lock ring may be damaged. Tighten the screws around the bowl to loosen the lock ring from the bowl. When the lock ring is loose, make sure to remove the screws you used to remove the lock ring from the bowl. If not removed, the bowl hood may get stuck during decompression. Remove the compression screws from the compression tool. Remove the clamps. Remove the compression tool. Remove the lock ring. The compression tool can be used as a puller tool to loosen the bowl hood from the bowl if stuck. Fit the compression tool to the bowl. Fit the clamps and fasten the bolts. Lubricate and fit the puller screws in the outer holes in the compression tool. Pull the bowl hood off by turning the puller screws alternately. No more than half a turn on the screws until the bowl hood comes loose. Remove the puller screws from the compression tool. Remove the clamp from the bowl. On smaller bowls, the bowl hood can be removed by hand, but on larger bowls, it's necessary to fit the lifting eyes in the compression tool and use straps and a hoist to lift off the bowl hood. The top disc may adhere to the bowl hood when lifting. Be careful not to accidentally drop it. Place the bowl hood on wooden supports and use a drift to loosen the seal ring from the bowl. The seal ring can be difficult to remove from the groove, but when you've removed a small part of the seal ring, remove the rest of the seal ring with the special aluminium chisel. It's important not to use any hard metal for the removal of the seal ring. If the chisel is missing, make one in a soft material like brass, copper or aluminium and so on. Using hard metal can damage the groove and make it difficult to fit the new seal ring into the groove.
Wear safety goggles.
There's a risk of eye injury from flying seal ring parts or from splashing fluid. The seal ring breaks when removed from the bowl hood and may cause trapped fluid to splash. Lift the inlet pipe and top disc from the bowl. The distributor and disc stack may adhere to the top disc. Separate them from the top disc so that they do not accidentally drop. Remove the top disc from the inlet and outlet pipe. Remove the splash seal. Remove the axial support. There are different designs on the axial support depending on the size of the separator. Remove the pairing tube from the inlet pipe. If the pairing tube sticks, use a drift to carefully tap it out from the pipe. Be careful not to damage the pairing tube. Assemble the lifting tool with the pin. The lifting tool will now double as a puller tool if the distributor is stuck to the bowl. Fit the tool to the distributor and turn until the distributor is free. Be careful when handling the discs. The edges are very sharp and may cause cuts. Use gloves when handling the discs. Lift out the disc stack from the bowl and set it down on a stable surface. Clean the bowl before dismantling the rest of the bowl. To prevent the bowl from rotating during the removal of the nut, you should fit one screw to the frame and one of the clamps onto the bowl and use a sling to keep it steady. Fit the special tool onto the nut and loosen it. Now we have access to the discharge slide. We use the special lifting tool to remove the discharge slide from the bowl. Fit the tool carefully not to damage the discharge slide or the tool. Push down the support ring and use the screw as a puller tool to loosen the discharge slide. The ring on the lifting tool must be pushed down against the discharge slide. Otherwise, the discharge slide may get loose from the tool. Fit the sling in the opposite direction because the cap nut is a left-hand thread. Fit the tool and loosen the cap nut. Remove the strap and clamp from the bowl. Fit the bowl lifting tool and use it as a puller tool to loosen the bowl from the spindle. Lift the bowl out carefully so as not to damage any parts. Turn the bowl upside down to gain access to the water operating slide on the bottom of the bowl. Support the bowl body when turning to prevent it from rolling. Loosen the screws on the operating water ring. Remove the operating water ring using two M8 screws in the threaded holes. Remove the screws and washers, holding the holder in place. If the holder is stuck, use two of the screws as puller tools. Fit the screws into the threaded holes and turn until the holder is loose. Remove the holder and operating slide from the bowl. Discard all of the screws and washers. New parts are available in the service kit. Remove O-rings from the bowl. Remove the valve plugs and seal rings from the operating slide using a drift. To remove the seal ring on the discharge slide, use compressed air in the hole underneath the sealing area.